The things that hold us back the most in this life are the ones we pay as least attention to as possible in most cases. The things that we feel the most pain about in our life, we end up covering up with layers and layers and layers of things that we do not enjoy in our life. But it gets covered up by the daily living, the daily things that we must do. And until we take the time to uncover them and get that dirt and dust and crap off of these pains inside, they'll hold us back. They'll hold us back from being that of which we're truly meant to be. You see, the way we look at life, the way that we feel trauma, the way that we understand ourselves is all based on the time we take to actually understand ourselves. The time we take to look at and see and feel and articulate what we've been through and where we're at now and why we're there and why we want to be there or why we don't want to be there. You see, the journey of becoming our true self is the journey of understanding who we are. I'll tell y'all a story. Back when I was younger, I had no freaking clue who I was. I told you guys before, I believe, on YouTube at least. I struggled to write in school. Like, I hated writing. It was because I didn't know how to express myself. But back then, I just thought I hated it, right? As a kid does. Got into middle school, I should say, and my identity was all over the place. I wanted to hang with the kids who were smoking, but I also wanted to hang with the popular kids, but I also wanted to hang with the nerds, and I had all these friends in different friend groups, and I was pretty cool. I say I was pretty cool. I had a lot of friends in different friend groups. I was able to communicate with most people, but I didn't know who I was, and that really irked me in most cases. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just there. Like, just there, you know? And what manifested from that was more chaos throughout the later years of middle school and especially the first few years of high school. You see, I got into wrestling 8th grade year. Again, new friend groups. I enjoyed the team that I was on. I enjoyed being around these guys and pushing ourselves and changing my body and becoming more confident. I loved that, right? Those two things, becoming more confident in my body, myself, and in the team part. But truthfully, I hated the sport. Truthfully, I was not focused enough on the technique. I was really just focused on surviving the practices because I was unfocused. I was so ready to get home and watch TV, play the game, go smoke with friends, go do whatever with friends, that I hated the actual sport. I didn't allow myself to focus enough to enjoy the sport. I fell on my face time and time again. I got beat up day after day after day after day after day. A lot of conditioning, survival, right? That was 8th grade, 9th grade, same thing. But I was playing football at 9th grade year, and I had a lot more friends. I was even more confident, so on and so forth. But I still had this mix-up of all these different friend groups and identities for myself personally. Again, I was playing football, so I was like a football player, and then I was a wrestler, and then I had friends over here, and then I liked hanging with these girls, and I liked doing this, and I liked doing that, and I definitely smoked a lot of weed, and I had all these mixed up identities, and I really didn't know who I was becoming. I was just out there, right? Well, the 9th grade year came around. 9th grade year continued on, I should say, and things were really weird with my dad at the time in the household. He was in and out. We didn't really know what was going on. You know, it's just a weird state, right? I didn't really have a father figure, though, I guess just to say. And I still remember like it was yesterday, my mom picked me up from wrestling practice one day, and the energy was off in the car. It's like 6 o'clock, dreary afternoon, and something was off. Before we got out of the parking lot, she was just bawling her eyes out. She told me that my dad got arrested, and I remember just sitting there really confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, what is that? I knew what it meant, but like, what do you mean? And I was just angry. Just angry and hurt. Like, how could this happen? Why is this happening? Things were already weird, but like, this is the nail in the coffin. Like, and my identity just got switched up even more. But in that moment, I didn't blow up. I didn't say much. I didn't do much at all. I really just sat there again, angry and confused. My mom's bawling her eyes out, and I knew I couldn't blow up on her. She's already going through enough. So I did what I was actually really good at that point in my life, which was bottling up the emotion. If you guys haven't heard of this yet, or haven't seen it, or felt it, or expressed it, you probably have. Bottled up emotions always come out, and when they do, it's not pretty most of the time. So Anyways, I bottled this up though. I'm like, okay, I gotta be tough, cool. Well, as things went on that year, I didn't really be tough for myself or my mom. Like, I kept going. I basically just lost all control over my identities, these mix-up of identities and who I wanted to be, and these different paths. They all started colliding and smashing together in ways that didn't work. And I ended up getting on drugs. I ended up being in the wrong friend groups where I was with these people that were doing drugs, and a lot of them were my older friends, but also newer friends, and I was just screwing off, lack of better words. And we got in some really ugly situations. And in that time, where I had some good things going for me, I was on the wrestling team, football team, had a relationship, I gave up on all of those identities. Because I got on the drugs, because there was an identity of mine that was like, fuck it. There was an identity of mine that was part victim. I gave in. I gave in to the devil, is what I'd say now. I gave up on all those positive identities. At this time when my mom needed me more than ever, I gave up on myself. I gave up on her. Because it felt easier and it felt more fun. I felt like, well, who cares anyway? And so I gave up on me, and I ended up falling into some very ugly paths. Thankfully, I was saved in a weird way. It took some time, but my main point in telling you all this is to highlight how in this time where I was like lost, it was because of my identities, and even that a lot of those identities being lost were because of my trauma. It was because I didn't really know who I wanted to be. And I was allowing whatever to get my attention. I was allowing whatever to take my focus away from the present moment. And so I disrupted everything in my life. And I didn't allow anything that I had spent so much time and effort in manifest into anything greater. Now, in reflection, it's all what's made me who I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today without those failures, without those falling on my face time and time again after my own dumb decisions. It took me a couple more years of falling on my face before I really finally took full accountability and started to go all in on me. But in the day, like, I could have made a lot better decisions and not have screwed things up in the ways that I did. Like, the trajectory I was setting myself up for was one of death, jail, or bum. Alright, like, 4 of the 5 guys we used to hang out with are now dead because of drugs, the same drugs we were doing. Another one of my best friends who's not even the same anymore, he OD'd. So it gets real treacherous real quick, like. And if you ask me, it's all based on the trauma. It's all based on those things that we fail to look at within ourselves. Just like me when I was that young kid, my father wasn't there. I really wasn't being truthful with myself when it came to what to focus on. I was kind of following in his footsteps, focusing on bullshit when I had actual shit going on. Meaning I had sports, but here I was focusing on drugs and partying and girls and you name it. And it was in part because I didn't know how to express myself, like I told you guys earlier. My inability to express myself truthfully, I just kind of gravitated to whatever situation made sense or was more fun or was more pleasurable in one way or another. I ended up in those friend groups that I shouldn't have been in. I ended up in those environments I shouldn't have been in. Doing the things I shouldn't have been. So guys, take the time to look at your trauma, what you've been through, who you are today and what made you that. Like why you are there. Take full accountability over all of it, especially the ugly parts. Because you're the only ones that can make those ugly things part of what the story, and write the story in the way that you actually want to write it. Like, I hated being unexpressive. I hated that fact about me. I hated that I went through that as a younger kid just a few years ago. But now I see that it's made me who I am today. And it's given me the greatest opportunity to make the greatest jump to a different level in life. So brother, in that hallway, in that dark, shadowy based hallway where the lights are dimmed, You're the one who must walk through with the flashlight and look around and spot out the paintings on the walls, the cool designs, the things that nobody else can come up with. They're all in here. They're within you too. It's all connected, my friend. Enjoy your day.